Hello, and welcome to the Alaska Seminar Series. My name is Valerie Stimick-Bailey, and I run the travel blog Valerie and Belize, as well as this YouTube channel that focuses on helping you plan your bucket list Alaska trip. This video series is something I've done for several years now, and I'm really excited to be back for the 2026 edition, which means if you are watching this video and you want to visit the Mat-Su in 2026, or if you don't know what the Mat-Su is, you're about to learn, because Justin is here from the Mat-Su, and he's going to teach us all about where the Mat-Su is, what you can do there, and what you need to know if you're visiting in 2026. And spoilers, there are some really exciting developments. This is pre-recorded, so there's going to be some Q&A at the end that was pre-submitted by my community. But if you have a question while you are watching this video, please, on YouTube, just go to the comments and leave it there. If you're listening to the audio only version, you can go to YouTube and do the same, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Valerie Belize, and I'm pretty sure Justin will tell us, because you guys, I think, just changed your Instagram name, so I don't want to get it wrong. So if you want to start with that, that'd be great. But yeah, if you have questions, just get them to me. I can get them to Justin if I don't know the answer. And then that just about covers the housekeeping. So I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to let Justin tell us all about the Mat-Su and everything you need to know to visit this coming year.
Hi, Val. It's good to do this again. Last year was the first time I got to do this on your seminar series, and it was a blast. And Val's right. A lot has happened in the last year. More is happening in the coming year. So we're pretty excited, and I'm excited to share some new things with you guys today. So my name is Justin Saunders, and I represent the Mat-Su, Alaska. This is a destination just north of Anchorage, but it is huge. It extends all the way toward Denali National Park, a very big region. For those of you who have come here because you're planning to take a package tour, maybe adding on a land tour package onto your cross Gulf cruise to Alaska, first of all, you're going to have a blast. Second of all, the chances are very high that your trip is going to include our destination. It's going to include the Mat-Su. If you're listening into Valerie's advice and tips on the Alaska Seminar Series because what you're preferring to do, what you hope to do, is learn what you can in order to plan your own Alaska adventure, then I can tell you, you have come to the right place, because that is what the Mat-Su is all about. Here at the Mat-Su, we believe that everybody can do Alaska and experience Alaska on their terms. And that's what we try and help everybody do, is to enjoy the Mat-Su and enjoy Alaska on their terms. Some of the places you may recognize from our region are Palmer, Wasilla. Palmer is where the Alaska State Fair is hosted. Talkeetna is another popular destination. Willow is a great place for fishing. That's where the Iditarod Trail sled dog race begins. So some of these place names you may have heard about. And in fact, when we're on the road or traveling and visiting with other folks planning to come up to Alaska, and we say, hey, you really ought to remember to include the Mat-Su in your plans, the response often is, well, I don't think I'm going to the Mat-Su. We're going to be spending a lot of our time in, let's see, Talkeetna, and then we're going to Palmer to catch the Alaska State Fair. And what they don't realize, to no fault of theirs, of course, is that both of those towns are part of the Mat-Su region. Valerie, I think I showed this slide last year, but I brought it back in here this year. This is the political boundary, the border of the Mat-Su region. What we're looking at is an area about the size of West Virginia. Some of the sites and activities and communities that you can visit in the Mat-Su are up to 2-3 hours drive away from each other. So there is some planning involved in how you want to enjoy your Alaska experience in this destination. And because most people recognize those place names before they recognize the term Mat-Su, which comes from two river names in our region, Matanuska River and the Susitna River, we abbreviate those and smash them together, and the region is called the Mat-Su. Because people recognize the place names more than the Mat-Su region name itself, we like to meet people where they live. We've created a series of branded place name badges that we use in a lot of our marketing material and a lot of our imagery, so that as people are making their plans using our website or our visitor guide, for example, they can see these badges wherever they're going, and kind of get the feel of where they're going to want to spend most of their time, because these badges will accompany all of the content that they're perusing and the plans that they're making. So be looking for these badges in the rest of this slideshow as well. These square badges are our community badges, the different towns in our region. And these circular badges are attractions or attractions or points of interest. The Alaska State Fair, most people have heard of. It's the biggest, most attended event in the entire state. The Matanuska Glacier is the largest road accessible glacier, and Hatcher Pass is a big draw. We've got some rich mining history there. So a lot of these place names, community names, are what people are going to recognize first. So we have started spattering badges all over all of our content, so people understand that yeah, they may be going to Talkeetna and maybe they're traveling on to Palmer, but those are both inside the Mat-Su. What else is in the Mat-Su, I wonder? So this is what we want to help you do. We want to help our visitors feel like they've got the power to plan Alaska their way. Experience Alaska on your terms. We can help you do it. So be looking for these badges as we keep going. This is the cover of our visitor guide. You can request a visitor guide at this URL link here. Valerie, is this something that we can put a hot link into, or maybe just include a link below the video later?
Yep, there will be a link under the video.
Perfect. We'll do that. But do request a visitor guide, you guys. This visitor guide has a lot of great planning content in there. We've built out some itineraries to kind of help you digest this ginormous region, so that if you've only got a day, or maybe you're just dipping into our region from Anchorage for a day, we've got some day trip suggestions for you. If you do want to explore our destination in more depth, we've got multi-day trips with different routes and destinations. So those are all in the visitor guide. We have information on trails, popular trails that people like to explore, difficulty levels, distances, more details on what season you might consider coming to the Mat-Su. That's right, people come up here year-round. Winter is an amazing time to come and visit us. And so we've got a chart in the visitor guide that kind of tells you which activities you can do during different times of the year. This is all in the visitor guide. Water activity is a big deal out here in the Mat-Su. We've got so many lakes and rivers and streams. Fishing is a big deal. Boating, paddle boarding on glacier melt pools. So there's a lot going on there. We've got helpful tips on what you might pack and where you might go. So yeah, do request a visitor guide. It's a great resource, as well as our website, alaskavisit.com. Check that out. Let us help you make an Alaska experience in the Mat-Su on your terms, and dial it in to, customize it to just what you want to do. So this is the big surprise, and I'm kind of unleashing this a little early in my presentation, Valerie, but I think we talked about this or hinted to it last year. The Gateway Visitor Center is a new facility that we have been planning on and crossing our fingers for a long time now, and it is on schedule, and we're anticipating opening this facility in May of 2026. If you guys are coming up here in 2026, or whenever you're coming up here, please plan to come and see us at this new Gateway Visitor Center. We've got helpful staff ready to help you find different locations in the Mat-Su and not miss all those sweet little special places and sites to visit. So yeah, we're so excited about this facility. It overlooks a place called the Palmer Hay Flats. Great views. The wetland habitat down there is great for birding. So I'm happy to be working right on the bluff overlooking that habitat. So that's basically the Mat-Su in a nutshell. I assembled a whole bunch of slides that just give you guys some visual imagery of what you can do here in the Mat-Su, what's popular, why people come here, what they're hoping to do. And then hopefully I've used my badges correctly to kind of help everyone watching this slideshow right now understand where those places are. So take some notes. If you see something that you don't want to miss in your plans, take a look at the badge in the upper right corner of this slideshow. And remember, we've got to go check out the Susitna River. Where does that flow? The wildlife up here. You guys forgive me. I may have a few too many wildlife slides. in this slide deck here. But that's one of my favorite things about here in the Mat-Su is anywhere you go, you have a great chance to see wildlife in your adventures. Ice climbing is a big deal. This photo was taken on the Matanuska Glacier, where you can do ice treks. You don't have to have prior experience. Our guides are fantastic. Denali views, of course, are best from the Mat-Su region. The south side view that you're looking at there is coveted. So that was taken in Talkeetna. Glaciers. Glaciers has got to be one of the top reasons why people come to Alaska. In the Mat-Su, we've got two amazing glaciers that you can access. The Matanuska Glacier is the largest road accessible glacier, but that is where people are doing the ice climbing and glacier trekking, glamping on the ice. They're even exploring ice caves in the wintertime. Trails, there is no shortage of trails in the Mat-Su. Hatcher Pass has just a plethora of great trails, lake trails, to explore. Sources and information on that in our visitor guide and our website. Request a visitor guide, you guys. It's a great tool. The Muskox Farm is a big hit here. Snow machining. I know a lot of people will call it snowmobiling. I put snow machining in this slide because I know that's how Alaska residents refer to this sport. Snow machining is a very popular thing you can do in the Mat-Su. There's a picture of the ice caves. Look at that. Unbelievable experience. Boat excursions are a lot of fun. These jet boat tours are super fun, and they go up into these glacier-fed river valleys out of Talkeetna. Zip lining you can do in Palmer, but you can also go zip lining out of Talkeetna as well. Really great family-friendly adventures, good guides, safety checks. There's some more wildlife for you. So this is Independence Mine. A lot of people may have heard about this, but this is up in Hatcher Pass, and it's a huge state historical park. It's free to go and visit, and it's a lot of fun. It's some rich history there. Trails again. This is the Wasilla Creek Boardwalk. Great bird habitat there. ATV tours. Again, you guys don't need prior experience, and there are several options to choose from, several routes to take. This particular tour goes all the way to the Knik Glacier. Giant veggies. Raise your hand if you've heard of these. They weigh these off and have competitions at the Alaska State Fair. This pumpkin is seriously insane. Dining and breweries are a big deal here in the Mat-Su. We've got a handful of several microbreweries out here. We love local flavor, so there's no shortage of that. This is our pride and joy, kind of a grassroots built ski area with a lift. Ski Talk is a popular place in the wintertime in Hatcher Pass. Sorry, guys, I just can't help myself. I'm plugging wildlife in wherever I can. Keep your eyes peeled as you explore the Mat-Su. They are everywhere. So Alaska Railroad does service the Mat-Su, comes to the Alaska State Fair. It goes to Talkeetna. It travels over that Hurricane Gulch that we looked at earlier. So if you're planning a rail trip, that's totally doable. You can do partial rail and then kind of split off and do some things on your own. More wildlife. The Alaska State Fair is a big draw. Just so many things, so many tastes, sights, sounds there at the Alaska State Fair. That happens at the end of August, like last week of August, first week of September. Glamping is very popular up in the Glacier View area. That's Matanuska Glacier in the background. Moose everywhere. I'd like to hear, Valerie, later on, perhaps, what your audience is hoping to do when they come to Alaska or when they visit the Mat-Su. Do they have a bucket list or a hit list? I've got to see a moose. I've got to see a sheep. I've got to see those northern lights. It would be fun to kind of pool everybody and see what it is that's most popular, what you guys are looking for the most. Most of the things that I've heard from visitors to Alaska, most of the things that I've heard them wanting to see and do are things that you can experience in the Mat-Su. It's that big a region. The habitats are so diverse that there's something for everybody here. Winter getaways are so much fun. This is the time of year you want to come to catch those auroras, those northern lights, do a little cross-country skiing. This particular lodge has cross-country ski trail back. Agricultural history is rich in Palmer. This photo was taken at the Alaska State Fair. Dog sledding, of course, is a big deal. Willow is kind of known as the dog mushing capital of the world. That's where the Iditarod race begins, is out of Willow. The Denali State Park is a fantastic place to visit. Byers Lake, you can rent kayaks or go paddling on the lake. There are campsites out there. More northern lights. We just had a really nice kick of northern lights here recently, Valerie. I wonder if if you and some of your audience didn't even see those from where you're located, I understand that those northern lights were pretty intense.
They were. We could not see them where I am in Northeast Ohio, but that's only because we get clouds all the time.
Oh
They were
no.
definitely visible as far south as this, but we could not see them, which, I saw them in May of 2024. I saw them later that same fall from here. So and I grew up in Alaska, so I don't feel like personally I am being shorted at all on my Aurora count in life. But yeah, it's just anytime anything cool happens from an astronomical perspective, I can guarantee there will be clouds in Ohio. That is just how it goes.
Oh my gosh. So,
Okay.
Valerie, I'm going to stop sharing this, and
Yeah.
then I know we have some questions from folks that we are anxious to answer here, but I also kind of want to put you on the spot here and ask you about your experience in the Mat-Su. I know you've traveled through our region before, and I just want to know what, like, some of your, no wrong answer, your favorite
Yeah.
experiences, things you've seen, anecdotes maybe.
So this
Let's
is
hear it.
wild. I finally have been filling out my Mat-Su resources on my blog, and you can find some of those linked in the show description, along with links to the Mat-Su's website and where to request a visitor guide and all of that. And I realized that I have been to Palmer, specifically Palmer, on the last, I did. I think my last 5 trips, all 5 trips, and that's over the course of several years, have all taken me to Palmer. And so that was like, I drove up for an hour on one of my trips because I wanted to check out the visitor center, which is also a small museum. They had invited me. They're like, hey, will you please come look at our little museum? And I was like, I would love to. I drove up one morning to get donuts because there's a new donut place that just opened. That's a sort of a new in 2025, but there's been some restaurant changes in the Palmer area. I went hiking in Hatcher Pass one time. I went to the muskox farm. I went to the reindeer farm. So I've been ticking off all of the Palmer area things lately. And so the Palmer, it's funny. I grew up in Eagle River, which is a town technically within the greater Anchorage municipality. And growing up, this was the 90s and 2000s, we kind of like looked down on the Mat-Su Valley, as it was called back then. Like, I think there's always like a little bit of rivalry. And 2, there aren't that many high schools in this part of the state. So like you had rivalry with other high schools. So when I was visiting Palmer in the last few years, I was like, man, Palmer has gotten so cool. And I know that Palmer is just reflective of what's happening in the whole Mat-Su. So like, if you've been watching this video, you might have seen a couple pop-ups in the upper corner of the screen. There are videos dedicated to Palmer and Talkeetna this year. Like, that's how much interest and excitement there is that we actually have we have people who are willing to dedicate their time to just that little community. So like Talkeetna, they're unincorporated. Like, it's the Chamber of Commerce that's deciding to do these videos, and they're so excited to share. And it's just great to have that enthusiasm about this region, because I do think you're right that over the past forever, people didn't realize they were actually traveling through a destination. They were like, it's like being from the Midwest or being from the flyover states. Like, people didn't realize that, hey, there's stuff to do here too. You're like missing along the way. And I agree with what you said, that I think everything people want to do in Alaska, they can do in the Mat-Su. And
I mean, there's just so much variety, so much diversity, and I was thrilled to learn that you're doing this also for Palmer and for Talkeetna. I kind of reached out to Delaney and Marnie to make sure that we didn't have too much overlap. We want to give everybody as much information as we can, but I'm so stoked, and I think that what you'll find after speaking with both of them is that these communities here in the Mat-Su are ready to work together as a team and help anybody who's visiting our region find what they're looking for and travel on to the next community. There's just so much. Yeah, there's a lot to do here, a lot to see, for sure.
I'm increasingly also finding visitors who are either returning, or when they're doing their research, they're saying, man, I really don't want to do like the main tourist trek, like the routes. And they find the Mat-Su and they're like, well, there's these set of communities in this area that are pretty close, within a couple hours of each other. And it has everything we need. So even late last season, which would have been late 2025, I was helping a dad who, he and his older teenage daughter and a friend of hers were flying up to go to a concert at the state fair. And they were going to just base themselves. I think they ended up staying in Wasilla. So they're basing themselves in the Wasilla Palmer area for 5 days. Like, that is almost an inconceivable idea a few years ago, because there just wasn't the information available to help people plan trips like that. So it's been really neat, because I've been sort of rising. My own interest personally as a traveler has been rising with the same way that there's more and more information and more tour operators, more accommodations, more great restaurants, like everything people need to kind of create that great cycle of tourism in the area.
I think that a lot of your audience, folks who are looking to come up here and sure experience Alaska, but experience it in their own way, and definitely spend more time on the things they are interested in. I think that they're going to find kindred spirits here in the Mat-Su, because a lot of us Alaska residents, especially in the Mat-Su, approach Alaska that way. We take a look around us, and there's a flight tour here or an ice trekking tour out onto the ice, and we look at a lot of those opportunities, and we may be interested in booking some of those tours, but also we look at that with a squint, and we think, I could probably pull off my own version of that here somewhere, or go visit this corner of this region and do things my own way. And so you're going to find a lot of like-minded people in the Mat-Su who if you want to build your own Alaska adventure, we're ready to help you, and no one's going to steer you into some package that doesn't fit you exactly anyway. We're ready to help customize and mold things to what you're wanting to focus on. I think it's awesome that they spent 5 days in Palmer, and I don't think 5 days is enough, to be honest with you. There's a lot to do. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I was going to say something. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is about the new visitor center, that I think that's a really exciting opportunity for people who are more like fly by the seat of their pants, which that is a category of people. If you're that kind of person, maybe you wouldn't be watching this video, but maybe you're watching this video just to have all the ideas. So when you get on the ground, you can lay the groundwork of what you want to do. That visitor center is going to be so cool. And when I drove by that in October, they were literally installing is it called the lintel that goes over the front door? Like I saw them like lowering this beautiful piece of woodwork to frame the front door of this new visitor center. And I was like, this seems like a momentous thing to just be driving by, but it's obviously not open to the public yet. So I didn't stop.
Valerie, I'll see if I can send you like a graphic image of what you're describing, so you can share it in this interview. But I know exactly what you're talking about. And when they put that up, I remember the first time I saw it, after years of only looking at a design concept of it, I thought, is this real life? Is this happening? We're really excited.
It'll probably be one of my main stops, like my first stop when I get back into the Mat-Su on my next trip, when I have the time to get up there, which I always make time. I'll get up at 6 a.m. and drive out to the Mat-Su.
Yeah, no, it's just, you can make tons of plans, and still it would be worth your time to just stop in there for 15 minutes, shake hands with 1 or 2 people in there, because when you have a chance to talk to folks who live here year round, you'll get insights on stuff, especially if you share what your plans are. Oh, we're going to go here and then here and then here, and I want to spend 2 days here. Do you think that's worth my time? They're gonna share stuff with you that you just aren't going to find on the internet. There's a lot of information we try to give, but the boots on the ground, the people in that visitor center are going to have their own passions that they'll be ready to share. So it'll be worth a stop for everybody.
Yep. Cool. Okay, well, let's jump to some Q&A. As a reminder, this was pre-submitted, so if you have a question, you're watching this on YouTube, which if you're listening, you should go over to YouTube so you can see all the pictures that Justin just showed us. Put your questions in the comments here on YouTube, and I'll get you an answer if I don't know it. I know how to get in touch with somebody who does know how to answer these questions. His name is Justin. But we have some questions, so let's get to those. Let's start with some kind of tour and activity questions. So I have this question from Ellie, and I know you did cover, Willow is the sled dog capital of the world. I always get those two confused. Dog sledding and sled dogs. That's how you say it. There are other tours. Can you give us kind of an overview? Is basically every major community and area have dog sledding if people are interested?
So I guess the quick flyby answer to that is, you can find a dog sledding experience most places that you go. But if this is a fulcrum of your plans, like this is why I'm going to Alaska, I love those puppies, I love that culture, and I really want to just immerse myself in that. Willow really is the place you want to go. Willow and Talkeetna, that region has an abundance of trails. It has that Iditarod culture. I like to tell people you can get out of the car in any random neighborhood in Willow at the right time of day, like towards supper time. You just hear kennels everywhere, barking dogs ready for food, ready for mealtime. So she asked, what are some of the options? And so I'll just share a list of the partners that we work with, and we love them all. But Snowhook Adventure Guides of Alaska is one of them. Alaska Mushing School, Martin Boozer's Happy Trails Kennel, Alaskan Husky Adventures, Rock On Racing Sled Dog Tours, Susitna Sled Dog Adventures, AK Sled Dog Tours, Turning Heads Kennel, and also you could take a flight tour out to do a remote sled dog experience through either outbound Alaska helicopter tours. So, I mean, and that's just a few of the partners that we work with. There are options everywhere. It won't be hard to incorporate a dog sledding or dog sledding culture facet of your plans, especially if you're visiting our region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured there were plenty of options, but it's always good to cover specifically. Here's one. Let's see. I'm trying to go in an order that makes sense, and they're just kind of all over. Like, you can spend time all over the map too. So Chelsea is asking, what are some of the best budget-friendly activities? And I feel like budget-friendly is great because in Alaska, there is a lot you can do that's just free. So let's kind of like high-level categories of fun stuff that doesn't break the bank.
Yeah. So I feel like I can relate to this a lot. And I think the easy answer is go outside. Go outside. And there are a lot of ways to enjoy the outdoors here in the Mat-Su. Budget-friendly stuff include the trails and the parks. Most of them are free to access. The reindeer farm is an affordable and family-friendly option. So is the muskox farm. Those are definitely affordable. Events are fantastic. So on alaskavisit.com, our website, it's very easy to find. Take a look at the calendar of events on that website, because we list all of the things that are going on. A lot of them are annual events that you can plan on every year. A lot of them are special events that are being held for special occasions or whatever. But take a look at those. And if there are any events that are going on in the communities that you're visiting while you're up here, plan to attend those, because we know how to party up here. We know how to have fun. Colony Days in the summertime is a big one. Colony Christmas is a big one. Those are both in Palmer. Talkeetna Winterfest is a really big draw. So yeah, plan on looking for some events, because that's a great free way to really experience the community feeling up here in the Mat-Su. Hatcher Pass. I mean, just get in the car. It costs a little gas to drive up there. It's not far, but pull over anywhere and enjoy the view, enjoy the trails. Gold Mint Trail, Gold Cord Lake, April, Bowl, Summit Lake. All of these places have great trails and views. Free to explore all of those. That's where Independence Mine is, the State Historical Park. So yeah, I would definitely recommend those if you're trying to stretch your dollar as far as you can. That should be on your itinerary. Hatcher Pass is gorgeous. It's just a beautiful place. A great place to visit is the Alpine Historical Park in Sutton. The Palmer Museum of History and Art is another great location. Museum of Alaska. Okay, so the Museum of Alaska was formerly called the Museum of Alaska Transportation and Industry. And just for those of you who might know it by its older name, but that's another place to go and see. Just a ton of great places. You don't have to break the bank to explore the Mat-Su. Those of us who live here year round know how to stretch that dollar. Come to the visitor center and get the DL, get the tips from us, and we'll definitely make sure your dollar goes as far as it can.
Cool. Yeah, great advice. Okay, so let's talk about Hatcher Pass, because we kind of teed up into that. And I'm gonna start with my general caveat sidebar that you need to ensure that your rental vehicle has permission to drive on Hatcher Pass Road. So let's assume that Raj has done that, who's asking the question, though. I had another question about roads that are open or closed and rental cars and stuff. And I was like, that's a whole separate topic of Alaska. But let's assume you've figured out you can drive Hatcher Pass with whomever you decided to rent from. Would you recommend starting in Palmer and ending in Willow, or starting in Willow and ending in Palmer? I have my preference. This is really just I think a preference question.
Valerie has a preference. We're going to have you tell us here when I'm done, because I want to know what yours is.
Okay.
I don't know if I do have a preference, and there's really no right answer to that question.
Correct.
But I thought about it a little bit, and here's what I've got, and this is just the gospel according to Justin. But if you're wanting to do that drive, and say you set out to do that drive in the morning, I would do it east to west from the Palmer side, because that way, as you're going up Palmer, you can pull out and get out and enjoy that sunrise, because there's kind of a southeasterly view shed from that side, so you can get some of that beautiful color in the morning. So if you're doing a morning trip, maybe Palmer side, so you can enjoy those colors. If you're doing afternoon, evening, come in from Willow for the same reason, because the sun is going to set out there on that western side. That's all I came up with. But honestly, if you're doing the full route, you can't go wrong.
True.
It's fantastic. Give yourself enough time too. No
Yeah.
matter what direction you're taking, give yourself time to pull out a lot. I don't know how many times, Valerie, I've thought to myself, I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to go up this trail for just 5 minutes, and I don't get back to the car for 2 hours, because it just the views and the trail there's something new around every bend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful place to drive. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your preference?
So my preference is Palmer to Willow, because I think that the drive up into the mountains from the Palmer side is really dramatic and beautiful. And I love the kind of like gentle slalom that you get as you descend out on the Willow side. I think you see a really neat transition from the alpine tundra subclimate back into a little bit more lowland, more trees. It really flattens out. It's like a long, slow drive to get back into the Willow side. I just think it's prettier that direction. I think it's got more scenes. If you're just doing the traverse, if you're not going to get out and do a bunch of hiking or spend the whole day there, which is when I've done it, I would. And you have, I guess, like, this is an important question. Like, sometimes people pick a direction they're going to go because they're saying, hey, I'm doing Matanuska Glacier in the morning. I want to end up in Talkeetna this evening. Well, you wouldn't go drive the Willow side down to Palmer and then loop back around on the Glen and the parks. You would just do Palmer to Willow. So if you're coming southbound on the parks, you might do Willow to Palmer. If you're going, let me see if I can get the direction right, westbound-ish on the Glen, you might do the Palmer to the Willow side. So I think there's a lot of different ways you could slice up why to do one route versus the other. Personally, I prefer Palmer to Willow.
Yeah.
But if I were coming down from Denali and wanted to do the Willow to Palmer, I would do it just so I could then have both experiences and compare them.
Where your home base is does factor in. Yeah. That's a good point. And I'm glad you brought up, you just reminded folks to take a look at like what the policy is when they're renting a vehicle, make sure that they can take that vehicle on some unpaved roads. That said, personally, if I borrowed a buddy's car and he had gold-plated rims and was begging me not to put a chip in it, I think I could do that drive. I think I could do it.
Oh,
and it's not. I'm not saying I'm like some hot rod driver or anything. It's not paved all the way through that drive, but it's not too bad unless you're in a hurry. Which I swear, if you're doing it in a hurry, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. Give yourself time. Drive slow. Pull over. Check stuff out. You'll be able to take pretty good care of any vehicle you take up there, but follow the rules. Valerie's right. Follow the rules.
I also think that part of it, a lot of the, we're not really getting into it, and now I'm going to put this thing called the Restricted Alaskan Roads article, which covers many of the roads that you can't take a car on. So if you're curious, just read that. But I think part of the reason they have these rules is that it's really hard to provide support and service if you break down on these roads. Hatcher Pass is the closest, easiest one. I'm putting those in quotes if you're listening. It's the one that I get the most questions about of all the restricted roads in Alaska, because it is one that people recommend a lot, and it seems like it's pretty doable. And I agree, it is doable. But I think if you were to, for any reason, maybe it's a repair issue or a tire that just has a weak spot, if you were to break down, I think that's what the rental companies don't want to deal with, even if you pay for insurance.
That's a great point I didn't think about. There are maybe a couple little pockets back in there on the Willow side where you may not have a signal for a little bit. And it'd be terrible if you had to get out and walk and go find a phone signal and then call for help or whatever. So yeah, rules are there for a reason.
They are. I've learned myself, I'm not from breaking the rules, but like having a car problem in Alaska is a pain. Alaskans can tell you that, but like if you're a visitor and you have a series of plans and something happens because you did something with your car that you shouldn't have been doing, it is very, even if you didn't do something you shouldn't have been doing, like when I got a flat tire a couple of summers ago, it is very expensive, very time consuming to get stuff done. So just make sure you review your rental policy. And if you do have permission, take it slow and enjoy the view. That's the takeaway.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do a couple winter questions. There's a gal in my community, Mary. She had 2 questions. So I know this is also a good tie-in from Hatcher Pass because she is going to be there in March, and Hatcher Pass is not accessible in March. But are there any other areas of the region that are closed to vehicles due to snow and such?
So yes, the Denali Highway, which is not the same road that goes into the national park, not the national park road, but the Denali Highway that goes the opposite direction across the interior of Alaska, that entire highway is closed down or closed off in the wintertime. It's just not graded and maintained and plowed. So snow machine access out to that region is certainly very, very popular in the wintertime, mainly because that road is closed to traffic, so those snowmobiles can travel out there. And then the only other one I can think of is really that section of the Hatcher Pass Road, the upper section. So even though that's closed, the mine, the Independence Mine, which is one of the more popular reasons people come to Hatcher Pass, you can still drive up to the parking lot below that mine and then walk up to the mine. So that's a year-round opportunity. You just can't do Valerie's Palmer to Willow drive over the summit. So that section is closed. But apart from that, all the main the whole road system is plowed and maintained, and we've got trucks running around with salt and dirt and keeping things safe for everybody. So
cool. Yeah, I actually don't think I knew that Independence Mine was accessible in the winter, so that's really cool.
It has an upper parking lot right at the mine, and that I think somewhere in September that closes, and then they gate that off, and so there's a lower parking lot and maybe like a 5 to 10 minute walk up to the mine from the lower parking lot. But walking was never more fun than in Hatcher Pass anyway. So you just can't go wrong. Drive up Hatcher Pass, check it out in the winter time. You're going to see kids on sled and everybody just have time up there in the winter.
I think that's probably all we have time for in terms of questions. Again, if you're watching and you have questions, just put them in the comments on YouTube or reach out to me on Instagram at Valerie Valise. And then what's the Mat-Su's new Instagram handle?
So for Instagram and Facebook, it's the same. It's the Mat-Su, Alaska. So check us out at the Mat-Su, Alaska. Follow us there. We're always trying to share some good content with folks. So
yeah, it looks so good with the new branding. I'm really excited because that was a long time coming. We talked about that last year, so I'm just impatiently waiting for it to be revealed.
We're as excited as you are.
Yeah, cool. Well, with that, I'll just wrap things up, and I will say one more time, if I haven't said it already, thank you so much, Justin, for teaching us about the Mat-Su and everything there is to do there.
Absolutely, my pleasure.